Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to act as botanical detectives to solve a really frustrating mystery. Why do perfectly healthy seeds sometimes absolutely refuse to sprout? If you've ever planted a seed, watered it, and then watched exactly nothing happen, well, you're in exactly the right place. Let's get right into it.
We have all been there, right? You sow a mature, totally healthy seed, wait weeks without seeing a single root or shoot, and eventually you dig it up only to find that absolutely nothing has changed. You might even cut it open, do a quick cutting test, and find no insects, no fungal rot. The inside looks completely firm and healthy. So why exactly is it just sitting there in the dirt doing nothing?
While the good news is the seed isn't dead, it's actually just in a state of deep sleep known as dormancy. And to wake it up, we need to use specific, science-backed pre-treatment methods. You see, dormancy is essentially a brilliant evolutionary defense mechanism designed to stop the seed from germinating at the wrong time or in the wrong place. To get past this, we basically have to trick the seed into thinking the conditions are absolutely perfect for survival.
So here's our roadmap for cracking the code today. We're going to look at identifying these botanical locks, how to break through physical barriers, what to do when you need to process thousands of seeds at once, and finally, how to hack complex chemical locks using things like temperature and hormones.
All right, let's start by figuring out exactly what kind of botanical lock we're dealing with. When you look closely, you'll see a stark difference in how seeds protect themselves. On one hand, you've got physical dormancy, which acts like an impermeable armored shell, literally blocking water from getting in. On the other hand, you have physiological dormancy. This one is way more sneaky because it relies on an internal chemical lock. Our first job as growers is to diagnose exactly which lock is keeping our seed asleep.
Okay, so let's talk about that physical armor first, and more importantly, how we bust right through it.
Take the Acacia nilotica seed, for example. It is a prime suspect for physical dormancy. Its coat is basically a microscopic bunker. If you just drop these untreated seeds into water, they will flat out refuse to imbibe or absorb the water. You can leave them soaking for a full 24 hours, and they're going to remain the exact same size. No water means no growth.
To manually bypass this bunker, we have to deliberately penetrate that thick seed coat. We're talking about physically roughing it up, using everyday tools like nail clippers, files, or even sandpaper. We need to create a pathway so water can finally reach the embryo inside. The very moment we mechanically abrade that armored shell, the barrier is broken. The seed will rapidly swell with water, a process called imbibition, and boom, it can finally begin to germinate.
But listen up, because this is absolutely crucial. You must never nick or damage the hilum. The hilum is that small depressed spot on the seed where the embryonic root lives. If you damage it, you will instantly kill the seed. Game over. You can abrade literally any other part of the seed coat, but if your nail clipper bites into the hilum, that seed is entirely done for. It is a highly precise operation.
Now that manual method is great for a handful of seeds, but what happens when we need to scale things up?
Just imagine you're planting a massive 5-hectare plot. You need to process, say, 20,000 seeds. Individually clipping 20,000 seeds with a nail file would literally take weeks of your life. Obviously, that's not viable. So we have to rely on industrial-scale bulk pre-treatments to wake them all up at once.
One of the best ways to do this is the boiling water shock method. Basically, you soak the seeds in boiling water, or about 80 degrees Celsius if you're working with delicate species like cassia. What this does is create these microscopic crevices in the seed coat, just enough for water to squeeze in. But here's the catch. You have to let them cool in the water for a day and then immediately remove the imbibed, swollen seeds before you repeat the process. If you hit those already swollen seeds with boiling water again, the heat will kill them. It acts like rapid, invisible sandpaper.
But what if boiling water just doesn't cut it? For extremely thick-coated seeds, we bring out the heavy artillery, a 10 to 15-minute soak in concentrated sulfuric acid. Now, this works incredibly well because the acid essentially eats away the physical dormancy barrier. However, it absolutely demands serious caution. You've got to wear protective gloves, an apron, and mandatory eye protection. Plus, you need to rinse the seeds incredibly thoroughly afterwards, otherwise the acid will keep burning right through to the embryo and destroy it.
Let's shift gears and look at seeds that don't have hard coats but still stubbornly refuse to sprout. This brings us to physiological dormancy and internal chemical locks.
A lot of fleshy fruits and arils contain built-in, powerful chemical germination inhibitors. These are specifically meant to delay sprouting until a bird or an animal eats the fruit, digests the pulp, and disperses the seeds somewhere else. It really is an ingenious survival tactic. The fruit's bright colors attract the animal, but those water-soluble chemical locks ensure the seed stays completely asleep while it's traveling through a very hostile digestive tract.
Because we're collecting these seeds directly from the plant, we have to do the animal's job ourselves. We must manually extract the seed from the fleshy fruit and thoroughly wash it in running water. The goal here is to literally leach away those stubborn water-soluble chemical inhibitors. We are essentially simulating the animal's digestive process, washing away the chemical signals that are screaming at the seed to stay asleep.
Finally, let's look at how we can hack the most complex types of dormancy using things like temperature, time, and plant hormones.
Some seeds are waiting for incredibly specific environmental triggers before they'll sprout. For instance, pine or oak seeds require cold stratification, which basically simulates the freezing temperatures of winter. Fire-regenerating species literally need a hot pretreatment, like a wildfire, to wake up. Pioneer species might need entirely fluctuating temperatures, and some tropical seeds require a resting period called after maturation. The seed is basically waiting for hard proof of the changing seasons before it risks sending a vulnerable little shoot out into the wild.
But what if you don't have months to simulate winter? Well, when you're facing these complex, multi-layered locks, there is an absolute cheat code: gibberellin plant hormones. Instead of waiting weeks or months for the perfect cold stratification, you can soak the seeds in a gibberellin solution for 6 to 12 hours. This hormone directly signals the internal chemical systems of the seed to wake up and start growing right now. It's a real game changer.
Ultimately, that annoying lack of germination we all experience is actually a masterclass in evolutionary timing. These seeds are just trying to guarantee their survival. But as we've seen, we can totally hack these systems, turning a wild waiting game into a predictable, manageable science. So the next time you're holding a stubborn, dormant seed in the palm of your hand, ask yourself, is it really dead, or is it just waiting for you to punch in the right evolutionary passcode?